Hey everyone, it's Mike Andes, and you're listening to the Landscape Business Course. Today is another episode of the RoundUP podcast, where we're going to interview another landscape and lawn care professional. And I hope it's something that you can gain tips, advice, and tricks to grow your business. Here we go. Vlad, thanks for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Mike.
Cool. So let's go ahead and jump in. Let's first off go over kind of how you got started with lawn care, and then why did you from the very beginning decide to go exclusively electric?
So yeah, I've been mowing my own lawn since I've been a kid, kind of like you with your history, and I kind of thought about probably doing mowing on the side a few years ago, probably like 2018, 2019. And I even spoke to my previous boss about it, and with the whole pandemic happening, so I went to school for architecture and urban design, and the whole pandemic happened, and everything got kind of put on hold. So, I kind of like jumped around on a few ideas on what I would do. Maybe I'd be a real estate agent or something, or my long-term goal is kind of like what you're doing is be a real estate investor. So, but I needed some sort of funds to build that up. So. I kind of got the idea of maybe, hey, let's go ahead and give this a shot, and maybe being like a lawn care owner and, starting my own business. So, I kind of followed a little bit of videos in the beginning from like Florida Turf Pros, kind of Quiet Lawn. I think you might be doing their zero turn episode soon. So shout out to those guys. So I kind of got the ideas of how can I stand out. So I know we live in Florida. It's not the most like green state, but being kind of like a millennial, we're always thinking about the environment. Something that I quickly got to is, well, I know there's electric equipment out there. I did a little bit of research, and I thought, well, this might be a good way to stand out in front of all the other competition here in Florida. I mean, you got a franchise right here in DeLand close to me. There's a lot of competition for lawn care, lawn care service. So I wanted to stand out. So that's what kind of did. I did a little bit of research on what I can do, and a lot of the commercial mowers right now are around 21 inches. There's Toro, Ego, Greenworks, all these other brands. So I did a lot of research. I watched a lot of videos online about reviews, what would work well. And, there's commercial manufacturers out there like Mean Green, which down the road I did end up getting one of those mowers. So, but in the beginning I didn't. I just started off with the smaller 21-inch mowers and kind of built up my capital so I can afford a larger mower. So from there, yeah, I started 100% day one with all electric lawn equipment. And, it's so far it's worked great. I'm sure just like you talked about in your videos, the upfront investment is definitely higher than, going out and buying, maybe like a commercial, 1,200, 1,400, possibly, gasoline mower. But, the maintenance has been pretty much zero. Like all I do is sharpen blades, maybe put a little bit of WD-40 or grease on some of my stuff, and that's it. And then charge batteries.
So from a pricing standpoint, did you find that people were willing to pay more for that electric service? Because obviously that was your differentiating point at the beginning. Did you find people actually willing to pay more for it? Or was it like, hey, look, I'm really happy that you're saving the environment, but I'm not willing to pay $1 more for it? What was your experience in that?
So, at the end of the day, yeah, like you said before in one of your videos, most people are not willing to pay any more, like a penny more for electric lawn equipment. They're trying to find, the best deal, the best value, lawn care service. So, the way, again, I save money on that is just the maintenance cost, reducing, going down to my dealer to get repairs and stuff like that and other parts. So, I'm, probably, I know I'm on the higher end in my market, definitely, but, it's definitely not because I'm electric. It's just because I try to bring a higher perceived value to my clients out there.
Hope you're enjoying the episode so far. If you haven't already, make sure you go get your tickets for the Landscape Summit. It's going to be the 13th, 14th, and 15th. You can find them in the link down below
or at landscapebusinesscourse.com/conference.
Make sure you get them quick.
Got it. And so when someone's becoming a customer, do you get a lot of questions about what the mower can or cannot do, or is it pretty much like, hey, we want a lawn care service? Great, you're electric, and it's more about your brand, your communication. Obviously, the price has to something factor into it. What have you found in that regard?
So most of my clients, I feel, don't really question anything about the lawn equipment, but I do get a lot of attention from people that drive by, people walking their dog. I get a lot of people stop me, especially with a mean green walk behind mower. That's what I have, the WBX. It's not your traditional looking, push mower. So they definitely stop me and they ask me, hey, how's that equipment going? How long does the battery last? I even get a lot of lawn care workers that are out mowing lawns nearby. They'll come by and stop me and ask me, hey, how's that going? How much did it cost? Is it powerful? And people ask me how powerful the hand tools are and everything. So it definitely attracts more attention. And that's kind of going back to what I was trying to say, stand out. But my client didn't really question the quality of the work. I mean, I go out there, I produce high quality, care for them. So there's no question of if it's going to bring, what they're looking for.
No, it's very cool. And what I think is really cool what you're doing, Vlad, is really leaning into the differentiating point, right? Like that is you are electric, and even on your website, which I'm going to pull up here in just a second, it's
a lawn care web design.
Oh yeah, of course, absolutely. But like
gotta put that shout out there.
But just you leaning into that is what I find is so good. What makes you different, and whether it be someone's age or something that they offer in terms of electric or robotic, and just leaning into that. How has that affected your growth kind of plans and ambitions in terms of the electric side? Is it somewhat of a limiting factor in your belief? Can you grow and scale this, or is this more something that you will eventually have to change the gas powered and your branding if you were to grow and scale the company up?
So scaling wise, yeah, that's a good question. I don't think I'm definitely limited. I definitely, you have to make sure you have enough batteries on board when you go out for your routes because, it's not like you can just stop at a gas station and fill up on gas or anything. Like you really got to make sure you have them. I mean, as I'm small, sometimes when I started, I had to, go back to shop or the house and kind of charge them up for a little bit during lunch and then go out there and continue for the day. But as I do scale, I'm going to continue to invest in new batteries to make sure, as my, I get more budgeted hours. And then as I bring on, I have a part-time worker now. I'm going to be hiring in January once the Christmas season starts laying off. I'll pick them up. And we'll definitely need more batteries to keep up with, the added budget hours we're getting every week. So that's like the limiting factor of that part there. What was the rest of the question?
No, that was great. In terms of just scaling and as you grow, do you think it will scale? Because I think my biggest concern is like, even with batteries, like they're expensive. They take a certain amount of time before it actually pays off when you compare it against fuel. Have you seen where those batteries begin over time to actually deteriorate, or they have less budget hours that can be completed on a mow?
Yeah. So right now I use Ego. And I have mainly two right now, 5 amp batteries that I have issues with. They get overheated and they're not charging, but I have some of their larger batteries and I have zero issues with it. And then I also have the mean green mower, which uses, they're kind of like 2 car-sized batteries inside the mower. There's zero issues with those batteries. I mean, they last all day pretty much. Their runtime is probably like 6-7 hours maybe. So they definitely last my entire routes that I start from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. And then I charge it overnight, and like 4 or 5 hours is ready to go for another full day of worth of work. So, that mower is a lot more expensive, like, $10,000. So that I'm still paying that loan off, but that investment definitely pays off because I mean, it's a lot faster than using a 21-inch push mower that I have. But there's no issues with that battery, but the smaller ones, definitely there has been issues. Yes.
Have you done the math in terms of like kind of how long it typically would take to pay off from a purely economical standpoint in fuel versus batteries? How long that would usually take to actually make it economically make sense? Like, is that like once you hit 1,000 hours? Obviously, there's benefits outside of just the fuel itself. Because like how I look at it is like even spilt fuel and gas cans, like just just a sure can is like $50, right? Like you don't have to buy those every 6 months because they always get lost. Like there's so many little other things around fuel that I'm very interested in with the electric side. But have you actually done a breakdown of like kind of what that hourly savings is, or how long it takes to kind of break even on that piece of equipment?
Not exactly. So, like I said in the beginning, I did start with a 21-inch push mower, and I was tracking my time then, at least for that size. And I was trying to see when would it be economical, how economical would it be using the larger mower. I didn't really do like a gas and electric analysis comparison. But I mean, I think at the end of the day, like I'm probably like it's probably a little more economical sense. I know, like I don't know about the larger mower. It's definitely more expensive. But if you're trying to do small residential properties, probably under 5,000-6,000 square feet, and you're going to use all electric, I think, and probably in the long term, it's definitely going to pay off. I mean, just the headache. I mean, there's a very little chance of something breaking, and now you have to go to a dealer, find a part or anything. I mean, there's very little moving parts. Worst case, you go out, you spend, maybe $200-300 on another battery if you needed some more, and you're off back and mowing lawns. There's no hold up or delay or anything like that.
So what's a little trippy for me when it comes to these electric mowers is just how light they are, right?
Yeah.
Like, have you found that to be an issue, not just from like a use standpoint? Obviously, it's way easier on your body, but like, I don't know. Like, I just don't know if when I feel like that lightness, I'm like, man, I don't know if this is gonna last me 5 years. Like, has things broken like with the plastic or anything like that? Obviously, they're built for commercial use, but what's your experience been with that?
So lighter. Let's talk about the hand tools first. So the tools are lighter without the batteries. Once you put in a battery, especially like a 7.5 amp, 10 amp battery, it starts to become heavier than the gas. I use the gas, my own property. I still have the tools right now. And when you compare it,
Such a hypocrite.
the gas ones are actually lighter. They're actually lighter. But if you put like, a 5 or 2.5 amp battery in there, it's probably equal or maybe a little bit less. Now the mower, it is very light. I actually like that because it's easy to move around. It's not a lot of wear and tear on the body. But the bad part is, I don't know if it's the mower design or because it's light, there's not enough suction in those mowers right now. For example, the Ego, and I know the Greenworks, they have a 25-inch that Quiet Lawn and other people use. It doesn't have the best cut quality. And maybe it might be because there's not enough suction, because the mower is so light, you go over the bumps and it kind of loses that suction when it raises. So I don't know if, again, it's a design or because it's so light, because I have a 21-inch gas mower that I would use in my own home, and the cut quality is a lot better. And I think because it's it's Husqvarna, it's metal, it stays on the ground a lot more, so it's able to create that vacuum effect, that suction effect.
Got it. And then in terms of charging the batteries, I know you said at night you charge them. Have you played with the idea of trying to do some sort of a solar charge? Have you just found, hey, it's just easier to buy more batteries and have them as backups?
So I actually got this again going back to Quiet Lawn. He had kind of talked about this in one of his videos. So they have an enclosed trailer, and he has solar panels on top. So going from job to job, you're going to get a very little like charge unless you really leave it in there, I guess, and you have extra batteries charging while you're out mowing. So it's possibly something I would look into, as maybe if I scale larger one day. I think it's just easier to have just all the batteries on board ready to go. There's no question if like, oh, what if they don't charge in time? Or what if it gets rainy? Because it rains a lot here in the summer. We're not getting any sunshine. And, then we don't have any batteries. So I think it's better just to buy extra batteries, pay the higher cost, couple $100 or whatever it is, have all the batteries you need for that day's route, no matter what the weather is going to be.
And speaking of rain, like I've always thought, like the pro of having an electric mower in the rain is the fact that it's lighter and it won't make as many ruts. Like you could actually potentially keep mowing during the rain or when it's pretty soupy. The downside in my mind is, again, that issue of suction, and just if it actually is powerful enough to get through like just wet, thick grass. Like, what's your experience been on that side of things? I know some of these are elementary questions, but for people just kind of thinking about
it's okay.
into it.
Yeah, I know a lot of people are not using electric equipment. So when it comes to my smaller Ego mower, so when it is wet, majority of our clients here have St. Augustine grass, so it gets pretty thick, and it'll handle the load. But what happens is it starts burning the battery a lot faster. So what normally that battery would last an hour, now it's going to last maybe 30-40 minutes. With my larger mean green mower, again, I can increase the blade speed. It'll take on the grass like no problem. Like it's nothing, no problem at all. But again, you're going to burn a little bit extra battery because of that. So you kind of have to compensate that when you're out there mowing. How wet the grass is. So you want to make sure you have no battery for the rest of the day, especially for something like the mean green, the more commercial mowers. You can't just replace the battery in and out in the truck real quick. Like those batteries are kind of like inside the mower, so you have to kind of plug it in. It's not like the Ego, the handheld tools where you can just swap a battery and keep going. So that's the difference. But I definitely think they could definitely take on like the wet grass and the suction, like the larger like commercial brand mowers. Yeah.
Got it. And then in terms of employees, like obviously you're still trying to grow, have some experience with the employees. You're going to be hiring another one here in January. But I think one of my other concerns, just for ease of use and just, comfortability around that kind of equipment in terms of batteries and figuring out like how many minutes I have left, and not just think, oh, I have gas in the truck. When I run out, I'll just go fill it up. How have you seen employees deal with the battery side of things and their adoption rate of the technology, and then also just treating the equipment? Because it is lighter, I feel like potentially it could be dropped more or broken easier. I could be wrong on that. How has it been harder to train employees on this? And this is where I see a lot of solo operators or smaller companies using it, but then as they grow and scale, they eventually switch over to gas sometimes. Have you found that to be an issue, or do you think it's just a matter of the technology getting better and it's not really a problem?
I don't think so. So, my first hire that I have right now has zero experience in lawn care. So they were just learning right there on the job day one. So, the handheld tools, there is more plastic, but there's still, the shaft of the string trimmer is still metal. Some of them are carbon fiber. The edge is still metal. So if they drop it, I think it's just the same quality as the gas. It's not going to break. The most plastic part I have is the blower and the mower, which, I've dropped my blower so many times, like on the grass or maybe the concrete, and it's sturdy. It's not going to break. It's pretty thick, heavy duty like material. I think at least from the Ego brands I can talk about, because that's what I use. I think the tools itself is, the great quality. The batteries are the ones that are a little bit issues. But I think the employees, I think it's easier than gas because there's no need to start up, the mower or the trimmer. It's just, you just press a button and you go. So especially kind of like what you talk about and what I'm doing a little bit is just hiring sometimes people with zero experience. So I think there's a benefit because it's electric, because everyone knows how to like push a button and
Yeah.
it works, electronics. So there's no need to, hey, do this. Or like, I know for gas, like you might need to adjust something or check the spark plug, maybe it's loose or something like that. I don't have to worry about anything like that for new employees because we don't have that parts in the electric equipment. It's literally just push the button and you're out there mowing or anything like that. So it's actually, I think, easier because it's electric.
Whether you're just getting started in the landscaping industry or you're already an established business, you're going to need a professional website to ensure your customers know how to find you and what services you offer. LawnCareWebDesign.com is here for you to set you up, keep you going with SEO. You can do unlimited changes to your website, all for a flat monthly fee. Check us out on LawnCareWebDesign.com.
Talk a little bit more about the maintenance side of things of the equipment. I know you said, hey, like it's basically some WD-40. There's no like moving parts besides the blades. Like you just sharpen those up. Is there anything else been that's like hard to find parts, for example, like either cracked something or broken, where it's like you literally it's unusable. You can't just go get a part from your dealer and you have to reorder a new one. Is there anything like that right now, just because it is such a new sort of technology?
So there's not, when you talk about dealers, usually dealers are the gas equipment. So I had an issue earlier on where I lost the part for my Ego mower, for example. I can't just go down to my local dealer shop here and have that. They all have gas equipment. So there are retail centers here like Ace and other like Lowe's or whatever that sell Ego merchandise, but they don't actually sell the parts. So I had to go online, order it, wait for it to come in. So in the meantime, I had to find out what to do. Like, do I use my other mower? Do I have to, go buy another set of equipment? And then, just have a set of 2 or 3 or whatever is extra laying around. So you kind of have to play with that. My larger mean green mower, for example, well, the closest dealer to me that, where I got is, still about 35, 40 minutes away from my location. And I know for you, it's very important to have a local dealer close by, but with the electric being so new, a lot of the local dealers are not, they're not going towards electric yet. So I have to go out a little bit out of the way. And a lot of those parts are coming straight from the manufacturer, which is Ohio. So it takes about a week or so for those parts to come in. So I think that's good if you're going to start an electric equipment, a lawn care equipment, that you have at least 2 mowers, at least accessible, or you have a place to go buy an extra string trimmer, extra blower, and you have that capital in the bank in case you need to. Because if you only have one set of everything and one thing breaks and you have no money in the bank, let's just say to go and buy another one at like Ace Hardware, you're kind of getting yourself a little bit screwed. And I had a point at that one point, I was like, oh man, do I just go out and bring my gas mower out? And I thought, no, that's not going to be very valuable to my clients. I want to be true that, hey, we're all electric. And if something breaks, we're going to find a way to make sure that your lawn gets taken care of and it's quiet, it's clean, and it's electric.
I think it's back to what you said, though, and that is, it's really about the battery technology, right? Because technically the tools themselves are actually relatively cheap. Like they're not like abhorrently expensive. It's the batteries. So as long as the batteries can work well, getting a couple replacements or backups, I should say, for a trimmer or a mower isn't too bad. And especially like even the past little bit, we had one of our franchisees getting a Honda 20-inch mower, and because of the shortage, they were wanting $2,000 for a 21-inch mower,
Wow.
which is typically $1,200. So that starts to become a lot more economical sense to go out and buy a push mower, get several batteries, and be okay with it. From that perspective, a 21-inch mower, commercial, like highest end, what are you looking at in terms of price once you get the mower itself, as well as the several batteries as backup?
So right now, I think the mowers are about, I think like $700, and I think there's a battery included with that, with when you come in, and then you're probably going to want, depending on how large your business. If you're a solo operator, you could probably get away with maybe like maybe three batteries, three batteries for just a mower for a full day's route, and then you want a couple extra for your handheld tools. So with a blower, string trimmer, I think depending on the size of the battery, let's just say with 7.5, 10 amps or so, you're probably going to want about maybe like 4 of those, maybe 5, 6 if you want to be safe. Right now, or at least when I started, I only had 4, and again, it was still kind of difficult because sometimes I had to come home and charge my batteries before I would go out for the day. So next year, I'm going to do a lot better job to make sure that I have the batteries. And buying extra inventory, make sure they're charged, keep them on the truck, so it reduces that drive time. Again, it increases P for P and everything performance. So just keeping extra batteries.
Yeah, I think my big thing would be for someone just getting started. Like I think it's a great place for a 21-inch mower if you have smaller lawns. And I think honestly the price on the smaller lawns is becoming comparable. And it's a great place to get started, especially like for me when I first got started. I actually, full disclosure, didn't know you had to sharpen the blades. Right. So I went the whole first year without sharpening my blades because I didn't know you actually had to. And then when I did, I didn't know you had to take them off. I didn't know how to use an impact driver. So I would literally just take a grinder and just try to sharpen them after jacking them up. So like for someone that is much less mechanically inclined, electric might be a great place to get started because the barrier to entry is better.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely. Definitely. Yeah. Like I said, like with those mowers, all you have to do is really change the blades, and it's just 3 bolts. You get the blades off, or 2, depending on the mower. And, I have a sharpener in my house here. I sharpen them up, and, you put them back on. That's it. There's very little mechanical knowledge needed. Definitely.
Going forward into 2022, what's kind of your plan, Vlad, your kind of goals for the business? And is there kind of a triple bottom line in terms of the ecological and the environment side of things? But more importantly, the business, the numbers, what are the plans for the business as you begin to grow next year?
hmm So, like I said, so in the end of January, looks like hopefully maybe February, beginning of February, I'll be hiring my first full part timer, and then as we built up, clients and stuff like that. So hopefully by maybe March, what I'll be doing is I'll be getting an actual truck. I want to do a trailer setup kind of with a Ramp Rat Sport now, because we do a lot of bush trimmings. So I know a lot of electric, they usually get an enclosed trailer, but enclosed trailers are big, and a lot of these homes are so small. There's so little space to park a vehicle. So right now I have a 6-foot trailer behind my personal vehicle, my SUV, and it's very tight. So I do want to go into a trailer setup with a Ramp Rack Sport. We do a lot of bush trimming, so I always have a lot of debris in the back of there. Keep the 2 mowers I have back there, and moving forward, like I said, I'm hoping to get a truck for that. Probably in March. Just truck prices are so high right now, so it's a little difficult to find something. And again, as soon as we build up, enough clients, we'll have that employee go to full time, and then towards the end of the summer, maybe mid fall, we'll get them their own truck. That way, they'll be on their own, and we'll have 2 solo routes going out there. And moving on to 2023, just continue to keep growing and hire some more employees, maybe another 2, possibly in 2023, and just keep continuing to grow and keep bringing value to the customers around here. I mean, there's a lot of homes being built here. I have a lot of small properties, and there's some larger ones as well, but we can cater to the small ones. A lot of them really like how quiet they are, especially they're building these small homes. You talk about under 5,000 square feet. I mean, between the houses, there's only 6 to 8 feet between them. So, when we're out there mowing, their neighbors don't even know we're even there. So it's great. But moving forward, for the numbers wise, this year, I went from part-time to full-time this year. I started full-time in June, and I went full-time since. So we're finishing the year with about $42,000. Nothing impressive, of course. But moving next year, I have some numbers here. I kind of use your from landscape business course. You had talked about doing projections. There you go. So I got one for next year. I'm hoping to do about $147,000 with that employee going to full time, and hopefully we'll be having about almost 3,000 budgeted hours together. We'll be mowing. So that's kind of like the goal for next year. Keep buying some more equipment and hiring as much as I can. So as soon as the routes are full, hire another employee and keep growing. I definitely don't want to keep this small. I'm not passionate about lawn care service, just kind of like how you are. I like the business side of it, the numbers. I really like working on Excel and Google Sheets and the marketing side of it. So I love going out there and doing door hangers and doing online ads. So I see myself later on down the road, kind of, being like an office manager until that gets handed off to someone else down the road. But for now, that would be ideal. Hopefully, we'll have, maybe like 4 solo, crews out there mowing. That's like the future. Probably next year or 2023, we'll probably have that completed. For now, yeah.
Very cool. Well, I appreciate all of your time. I think my last question is somewhat in relation to your setup in terms of the trailer setup. I know a lot of people are concerned about having too much weight on the axle of their trailer or their truck. Are you going to use a smaller truck like a Ranger or Tacoma or something smaller, or are you just going to get like a 1500 or 150? And then furthermore, would you put your mean green, like your larger mower in that? Because that would obviously not necessarily be a whole lot lighter compared to, obviously the push mowers are much lighter with being electric. What's kind of your plan set up in terms of the truck for that trailers setup?
So I'm definitely looking for something like a 1500 or F-150. And I know, I've looked at other reviews for those ramp racks. They do put 0 turns on there, but I am looking to hopefully, I'm going to do some testing some more in the spring and summer to maybe go down to just a 21-inch, or if they come out with a more smaller 30-inch mower, kind of like what you guys use, the X-Mark. But right now there's nothing like in the market like that for electric besides the 25-inch Greenworks, but has terrible ratings, so I'm not going to invest in that. But hopefully down the road we have the smaller mowers where we can just keep that on the ramp rack. Hopefully I'll have the mean green maybe on there for some jobs that require it. If it really becomes an issue where the truck's not really able to handle that weight, maybe we'll tow possibly like a trailer behind that, or have another vehicle that might not have a ramp rack, but just be for those larger jobs that we have, the projects that require like a trailer behind the truck.
Got it. Awesome. Well, I really appreciate your time, Vlad. Best of luck to you next year.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll see you in January for the conference.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's awesome, man.
I'm bringing my employee with me. So.
Oh, cool. Very cool. The one that's starting later in January, February.
The one right now I have. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah,
Very
the one
cool.
That's already the first part timer. She's kind of like seasonal a little bit. So
it'd be a good way for him to kick off the year with working full time with you then.
Yeah, eventually. Yeah, definitely. Yep.
Cool. Awesome. Thanks,
All
Vlad.
Right, man.
You have a good one. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Thanks so much for tuning in today to another episode of Roundup. If that was something interesting to you and you learned something, comment below, share the message with other landscapers so we as a community can come together and learn and grow our businesses. If you would like to be on the Roundup show and actually interview with me just like we did today, feel free to go in the description. There's a link there. Fill out the form, and we'd love to talk to you if you are wanting to share with the industry and help other people grow their business. Thank you so much, and we'll see you in the next episode.